another thing I do is spiritual mentoring. I lead a study group in A Course in Miracles. You can tell I've been playing with this edition for a long time. More recently, I've been playing with this edition. I'll talk to you a little bit about how this edition is slightly edited in the text. And so this is why I prefer this edition now. But what are these books about? Course in Miracles, a miracle is a shift in perception. It's a change of mind, change of how you see something. And there's a lesson in the book that says, above all else, I want to see this differently. And generally, when someone is needing healing, they need a shift in perception. They need a miracle. They need to see something differently. And through that, we're asking for help in forgiveness. Now, forgiveness, if we break the word down, is to give as before, right? So before what? Well, before I thought you did that to me, before I made a judgment of some kind about you, right? I would just give to you because you're a holy son of God, a holy child of God. Sorry, this book is all in masculine gender. I've been around it since I've got my first edition in 1987, and by 97, I would say it was a very strong daily practice for me. So for me, I've just accepted that the gender thing is not an issue to me. You're not a body, so it doesn't matter whether it's male or female gender. But when I'm working with people, I do my best to honor their idea of God, their higher power, and use terminology that is useful for them as opposed to useful for me. I really have though difficulty getting around the word forgiveness because there's a point in the Course where Jesus says, "Forgive me," and when I tell people that, they say, "Well, why in the world would I need to forgive Jesus?" The reason why, hi Leo, is that on some level, I think I'm separate from Jesus. I think I'm separate from my source, my creator, God. So if you have this idea that forgiveness is collapsing space and time, forgiveness, because what an ego, a separate self-identity does is judge. It becomes afraid, and it judges to be separate, to divide, okay? That's not what we are really. What we are is spirit. What we are is a creation of a perfect creator, okay? So when it's very helpful when we look at certain issues to have the idea where two or more gathered, you know, and two of us look at whatever the issue is that may be presenting itself, whether it's a physical issue or a mental issue or emotional issue. All of them boil down to a spiritual issue. There's a lesson in the Course in Miracles that says one problem, you have one problem and there's one solution to that problem. Okay? And my problem is I think I'm separate from my source, and the solution is to realize that I'm not. Okay? And it sounds very simple, and it is simple. It's not always easy to let go of what we think is our idea of the past. But that's really the largest obstacle to healing, is holding on to the past, holding on to an idea of what we think happened in the past. And so if we forgive, if Jesus completed the at-one-ment, Jesus is God's really perfect son, right? Jesus realized his oneness with Source. And I believe Jesus taught us to pray, our Father, not my Father, right? So that, and Jesus, as the Course puts it across, is our brother. Okay? So if I forgive my brother, who is at home in heaven, then I am also at home in heaven. That's the logic of forgiving Jesus. Most people idolize Jesus. That's what happened with the Council of Nicaea and the Bible and the editing of information. They didn't want us to feel at one with God. Okay? They wanted to have government that was in control. They wanted to keep the people where they were, and afraid of anarchy and afraid of whatever. So in that fear consciousness, they created a lot of the religion of Christianity that's not what Jesus taught. And if you want to know what Jesus taught, go to a red letter Bible and read the words that are in red. Love one another as I have loved you. Love your enemies. Love God. Love your neighbor as yourself. Those are the teachings of Jesus. Okay? And that is a state of forgiveness. That is a state of at one-ment where we can love one another. So when people come to me with issues, very often, let's just take the idea of anxiety, which the entire planet's feeling larger and larger amounts of anxiety. Okay, anxiety is in the body, controlled by all those stress hormones, and if you're feeling any anxiety, or if you're aware of yourself at a time when you did feel anxious about something, you turn within and say, just like you were dealing with, if you're a parent, like if you were dealing with a child on a day that you were very centered and peaceful. And what you would do, or a friend, you say, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love this part of me that feels anxious right now. I accept you. I include you. I embrace you. You can even do that physically. Hold on to a pillow or hold on to yourself. I embrace you. And I release you to the Holy Spirit for transformation to light. And if you've done that as a full action of mind, and you've engaged that help, if you will, to let it go, it will be significantly different. It may need to be done again, and that's one thing that I like to address with people that come to me. It's like, there's so much happening in this planetary healing. Okay, so don't take it all personally. If you're feeling upset, it could be because people across the world are having, or the next state, or in your city are having stress, and then you're feeling that. So when you're able to bless them, or as Jesus, towards the end of the crucifixion, forgive them, they know not what they do. Really be able to get into that place of, I don't know what anything is for. I'm not going to judge it. I'm just going to bless. I'm just going to bless. I'm just going to bless. And if you have a hard time with this idea of blessing, if you've seen a Disney movie and they have a wand with beautiful little sparks that come out the end, if you had a fairy godmother and they touched you on a wand and all of a sudden, you're now this princess with a nice carriage or whatever. It's a blessing is I love you. I accept you. I want the best for you. I don't know what that is, but I want you to be happy. That's what a fairy godmother would do.